My name is Tyler, aka Ty Illy, or Thank You I Love You, and I'm a very small artist from Sydney, Australia. You can follow my Instagram. I'll put the handle here. It should be ty___ILY, so Ty Illy. If you want to check out more of my art, please give me a follow. And yeah, so today is a bit different from the usual. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a mini review for all of the equipment that I've been using the most, having just started my own little small art business. I'm going to be as honest as possible, so hopefully this will really help you guys out if you're also thinking about starting your own little art business. So let's do it! So I'm going to start off with the smaller stuff and then end with the big stuff. So one of the things that I use the most is this little guy. Can you see? So this is a little manual portable corner rounder, and basically it's like a hole puncher, kind of. So it rounds the corners of any kind of like paper corner you put in there, and it's really cool because it's got all these different roundness radiuses, I guess. It's super small and super compact, which is what I like about it. So just in case, I can bring it around with me. I'm planning to bring it to my first market, just in case I need to round some corners for any business cards or prints. I guess the main downside is obviously you can't really do much in bulk. You'd have to round corners one at a time. Personally, I don't mind. I love these small repetitive tasks. I kind of just turn my brain off and have something in the background while I'm rounding corners. So it's not too bad, but that's something to keep in mind if you do need to, round corners in bulk. I know that they definitely have paper guillotines that can do that with big stacks of paper. So if you think you're going to be needing that, this definitely isn't the way to go. Also, sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly. It'll trim the corners weird, but I think that's just a skill issue. I don't know. That's something to keep in mind, but usually if you kind of just jam the paper in a few times, it works eventually. Obviously, the biggest pro for this little guy is it is super affordable, it's super cheap, and it does its job, mostly. So yeah, I don't know, I would recommend this one. I do like this a lot. Next thing that I use a lot is this, which I got recently actually. It is a slider guillotine thing for paper. So I've really only explored two paper cutting options. One of them is obviously this, the sliding guillotine, and the other one is sort of just using a ruler and a box cutter or an X-Acto knife and cutting up prints that way. I think with this slider, I found that it's a bit fiddly, but once you kind of get the hang of it and you've done a few, it's pretty fast. It's very quick. And I think the main appeal for this option is, or this particular one, it's very cheap, or there are very cheap options for it, and it does cut paper very fast. But the only thing I would say is sometimes it leaves a very strange kind of serrated edge on some of my prints. I don't know how to explain it. It's sort of like you can tell that the paper has been torn instead of cut. And I think it might just be because my blade is dull, because I have cut hundreds and hundreds of prints over the last week or two. To be fair, I did get a very cheap version. I think this was under $30. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You do get what you pay for, obviously. So even then, I do find myself sometimes having to go back in with the ruler and the X-Acto knife to sort of trim the edges of the paper so it doesn't have that rough feeling on the edge. It can cut multiple pieces of paper, but I wouldn't say more than 2 or 3, and I use 170 GSM paper. So that's, I think, on the thinner side. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Can't do a lot at once. And I mean, it's definitely been a good break for my hand. I think I'm a little further away from getting carpal tunnel now. And yeah, but I think in the future I do definitely want to explore the big guillotine option. But obviously a lot of guillotines go for, over $100, around $200 even. For now, this has been a pretty solid, affordable option for me to quickly get prints cut. And it's pink, which is nice. Okay, next thing that I use a lot are thermal printers. So I have 2. I have this one mini thermal printer, and I have a bigger thermal printer. I'll splice a video of it somewhere in here. But the thing I do like about thermal printers is it's a good option for saving on ink. So I do try to use my thermal printer mainly for stuff like packaging or shipping labels, stuff like that. So with my bigger printer, it's the Moonbin printer. I think you've probably gotten ads for it on Instagram. The main thing I found with my one is I did have a few technical issues where for some reason it only prints on every 3rd sticker, and I have yet to sort that out. The quality of the thermal stickers that I use for packaging come out just fine though. And yeah, for the smaller thing, so this is a pulley print. Again, it showed up on my Instagram and I got it. It's just, I don't know, the algorithm has me in a chokehold, okay? They know exactly what I want. And the thing I like about this, because it uses receipt paper, but they do also sell sticky receipt paper, which is what I use to print out a lot of address labels, just so, it's nice and secure and very easy and clear to read. And again, the best part is I don't have to use any money on ink or my actual printer ink because it's a thermal printer. So it doesn't need or use any ink. Once you have it, So it's nice. I think it's definitely, in the long run, good for saving a bit of money. Okay, on to the big things. So the main thing that I use is my beautiful, here it is, Canon printer. So it is the Canon Pixma IX 6860. What can I say about it? So I've had it for a few months now, and I have printed many prints with it. The images it prints out are very high quality. I find that the colors are always very nice, very vibrant. I think one thing to note is the program that you're printing it from, I found really matters. So I found a tutorial online that recommended to use either Photoshop or Microsoft Word. So apparently you get the best colors and printing results out of those programs, which is so random. It's like 2 different worlds. Anyway, so I haven't really gone through any other printers. This is the very first one I've used for my prints. But what I do feel like is this Pixma burns through ink very fast. It could just be the nature of my prints. They are very full on color. But I do find myself having to replace ink quite often. I did hear that there's another printer, I think it's the EcoTank, that uses less ink, but again, I have yet to try that. I don't know if I ever will. I'm quite happy with the quality I get from my Pixma, but that, I guess, is something that you can look into if that's going to be a deal breaker for you, the ink usage, that is. But luckily for me, whereas like the genuine Canon printer ink is like hundreds of dollars, right? It's so expensive and there's no way I would be able to survive if I was paying for that. A good thing to note is that there are alternatives, non-genuine ink. The stuff that I use is from InkStation, and it is significantly cheaper than buying Canon genuine ink. It's probably like less than half for like a full set of colors. I just buy them in bulk now because they usually have deals on InkStation also. Although I do think InkStation is an Australian site, so I'm not sure about, you know, if you're from outside Australia. I'm not sure about getting ink from there, but I guess the main thing to take away is explore outside of the genuine ink because there's always going to be cheaper alternatives that work just fine. But yeah, I will say the only thing with the Canon printer, I think it's a bit more on the expensive side in terms of printers, but for the printer, I wanted it to be a kind of buy once, cry once kind of deal. Like, I didn't want to skimp out on getting a cheaper printer and then not being happy with the results that come out. So yeah. Another thing that I use quite a bit, mainly for time lapses and social media content when I need to prop up my phone, is this thing. So what is this thing? It is a little stand thing, and it's got a light thing. So the main thing is using it again to hold my phone up, prop my phone up when I need to film social media content using my phone. I think this does the job. The main downside that I found with it is it's very wobbly. It's like you knock it a bit and the arm itself will jiggle. And I do find it's a bit limited in the ways you can use it and the positions that you could bend the arm. Sometimes I have to get a bit creative with how I use this, and I guess another downside of it is although it's small, it's very heavy, so it's not super easy to bring around, but I do only use it at home, so that hasn't been an issue. But again, super important thing to note if you are after a stand that is a bit more portable. Yeah, another good thing about it is it has a light on the back and a light inside. Do I recommend it though? No. I think it's a pretty pricier option as opposed to just a regular phone stand, which I think mostly will do the same thing. The main upside, I guess, is that the arm bends and it's easier to do bird's eye shots. But yeah, I'm not 100% sold on this one. And finally, I wanted to talk about the Sony vlog camera that I have. Yes, I prepared this mirror so you could see yourself. And it is a dirty mirror. Never mind. So I think the model that I got is the Sony ZV-1 4K. I'm pretty sure that's the camera I have. The quality is super good, and the camera itself I think is really simple to sort of figure out. It's very much just a point and shoot automatic, and the camera does most of the things for you, but I know there's definitely some settings that you can fiddle with. But again, I didn't find it that difficult to figure out at all. So I think the option that I got was the slightly more expensive option. I think that there was a cheaper version of the camera, but from memory, don't quote me on this, the cheaper version didn't have zooming capabilities, which I thought was very strange. But I guess if zooming isn't something that you need, that is also, you know, a good option. I heard that the camera quality for that one is also amazing and just fine. The only thing, again, you miss out on is the ability to zoom. I think the sound is pretty decent. I have used it outside when it's super windy, and it still picks up my voice just fine. But obviously a condenser mic or a boom mic is gonna sound much better than the camera quality, but it's decent, it's passable, and I think it's just fine. And another thing that I got with the camera was the grip stick, which I think is definitely worth it, I found. It's nice because I can control the camera remotely, which is cool. And just when I'm out and about, it's super handy to just hold, or even it doubles as a tripod, which is super cool. Definitely worth it. And I found that when I bought it along with the camera, it was actually at a discounted price. So who knows, maybe you'll get a bargain deal too. I just assume, you know, since I got that deal, it probably applies to all cameras, but again, don't quote me on that. But yeah, definitely recommend if you want to start vlogging or even just creating really high quality content. It's for sure a super good option, and it's super light, super tiny, very portable since it's a vlog camera. Highly recommend. I love it. Okay, so that's all of the equipment that I currently use the most. I hope this was helpful, especially if you're just starting out your small business like me. I would love to do another one of these later down the line, maybe when I've upgraded a lot of my equipment and tried out more things. Like for example, paper guillotine, who knows? Maybe I'll get one finally. But yeah, I'll do my best to link the products that I showed here down below so you can have a look for yourself and do your own research to see if any of this stuff will maybe work for you. And thank you so much. Again, I hope this helped, and please like and subscribe. It really helps. I hope you have a good day. And I'll see you most likely in my next vlog. Bye bye. There's a siren.